Detective Robert Field, 2752, detective with the Austin Police Department.
Go ahead and tell us what happened on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were just
on the 4th. Just how did you guys first? Was this just an officer who happened to be on this app and see it?
Yeah, on October 4th, around 12:30. I'm sorry, around 11:30 at night, an officer was on an application, a social media app called Yik Yak. I had never heard of it before, but essentially Yik Yak is it's supposed to be an anonymous website where you can post and review other people's posts. And essentially the way it works is that you have to be within a 5-mile radius of the person to be able to post and review comments. And the officer who was on patrol at this time, or at that time, he noticed the posting. It basically said, "About to put wings on pigs, y'all. About to put wings on pigs." And from there, he was able to screenshot and get a copy of the posting. And then, fortunately, Detective Riley, who was with our digital forensics team, he happened to be working that night as well. Detective Riley got right on it. As you know, or most people are aware, the "About to put wings on pigs, y'all" is a reference to the New York City shooter who executed 2 police officers, Officer Liu and Officer Ramos. And his posting was, "Today I'm going to put wings on pigs," or something similar to that effect. And so the meaning that was taken from this was that the person who was posting anonymously was making a threat against law enforcement that he possibly was going to kill one of them. So Detective Riley with the Digital Forensics Unit, he sent an emergency request to the company Yik Yak, was able to get some information that, combined with other information we had here at Austin Police Department through some investigative techniques, we were able to come up with a name of a James Wofford. From there, we sent out officers to look for Mr. Wofford so we could speak with him. And the next day, following day at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we were able to take him into custody on some local traffic warrants. Mr. Wofford was then brought to the police department for questioning, and during that time, after having his Miranda rights read to him, he agreed to speak with us. And in that interview process, he did admit to being the person that posted those threats. Not only that, he also had the cell phone in his possession as well, which we were able to link back to the original poster of "About to put wings on pigs, y'all." So Mr. Wofford was arrested for terroristic threat, which is a 3rd-degree felony in this case, and he has been charged already.
What was the reason he gave for making those threats?
He attempted to convince us that he was not serious and that he was trying to get a rise out of people. He was trying to be provocative or edgy. That's what he says in the interview. What his real intentions were, nobody really knows.
Were you able to find any equipment that would have corroborated his plan or his statement online?
Yes. Just the cell phone that was found in his possession, that we were able to link that positively to the person who did post the threats online.
Can you talk about the response to that, after the patrol officer, because weren't other officers in the area alerted to what happened? I mean, talk about the fear level, the immediate.
Sure, especially with the threats that were made in New York City, and as I mentioned, the 2 officers there were executed shortly after those threats were made by the suspect. So these types of threats are taken very seriously, and we had officers out looking for him immediately. The watch commander notified all the local agencies around us, and also it changed our patrol tactics a little bit in that it was dictated that no officer would respond to a call by himself, a minimum of 2 officers for every call, and that's just for safety, to make sure that we have enough people there for each officer to be safe.
The affidavit mentioned even ACL operations. There were some factors taken in for the officers that were in and around ACL. Could you elaborate at all what was happening out at the festival?
In the affidavit, I mentioned that ACL was going on, and that's just simply due to the fact that approximately 75,000 people are in town for ACL. So that just adds to the fear of the unknown. We don't know who else is out there. We have to worry about not only just the safety factor of ACL itself and the huge crowds, but also now we have to be concerned about there is somebody out there here in Austin that did make that threat. If I could just elaborate also, with this website, I think I had mentioned that you need to be within a 5-mile radius in order to view or post those. And due to the fact that the officer was here in Austin and was able to view those, that's what told us we knew for a fact that he was here in Austin.
We talked about this the other day. I don't think I used it in my piece, but can you talk a little bit about that line that's being crossed to freedom of speech, where it goes from freedom of speech to now a terroristic threat? Does that make sense?
I don't think that. I think that when you make specific threats, and in this particular case, the suspect he admitted that he took that particular line about to put wings on pigs, y'all. He did get that from the shooter in New York, and that's why he used that particular threat. I don't think that he was exercising free speech at that point, but rather I think that he was putting that message out in order to cause a fear or a panic among a certain population here in Austin, specifically police officers.
Mentioned that you talked about the emergency request, that this is an app that supposedly you can post anonymously. How difficult is it to get the information from a company like Yik Yak where the users are anonymous? I mean, is it one of those things where they're hesitant to give up privacy information, especially if they label their app as an anonymous?
Yeah, in this particular case, the suspect also admitted that he felt safe because it was an anonymous website. He didn't worry about the police finding out, but he did have a feeling of safety because he felt like it was an anonymous website. So it is difficult to get the information from these companies. However, fortunately, Detective Riley from our digital forensics unit was on duty. He's familiar with the process, and he was able to get the ball rolling immediately and get that going. And fortunately, Yik Yak did cooperate with that emergency request, and we were able to get the information fairly quickly.
With attacks on officers throughout the country, you guys kind of on a heightened sense of alert when you do come into a threat such as this that maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, you would have kind of brushed off as just something blowing off steam.
Yeah, I think absolutely when you have officers being executed, I wouldn't say on a regular basis, but certainly there seems to be a spike in the frequency here lately, and that is just due to the politics that are going on around the country. So absolutely, we take it very serious when somebody posts a threat like that.